Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about owl magic, totems, and some mythology behind magical workings in owls. And then we're going to be going outside and taking part in a short ritual. So owls are often associated with dark magic and mysterious things due to their nocturnal nature. They are connected with stories of black magic, witches, of course, and act as a postman bird for people of witchcraft. An owl is a depiction of wisdom, intelligence, patience, and mystery. It is believed that whenever you see or hear an owl, it means you are activated spiritually. Owls are considered a carrier from the spiritual world to highlight the importance of wisdom, honesty, and life's mysteries. Almost in all scripture and cultures, owls are associated with the world of spirit. According to many spiritual sources, owl hooting is often associated with productivity, as the hoot of an owl is said to signify a time for action and physical work. But an owl is not like a pigeon or a sparrow or any other bird. It is unique from all others and stands out in the crowd of birds, as it is quite different from other birds, for example, like being nocturnal, having stationary eyes, and eating meat only. It undoubtedly carries different symbols and meanings with it. Owls are night creatures, just like eagles in the day. In literature and different mythologies, they are symbolized as unattainable intelligence, silent talkers, and animals of supreme wisdom. These attributes are associated with them because in the wild, there are great planners, attackers, and hunters. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
It's okay. The owl is the symbol of feminine fertility, with the moon cycles of renewal. Even mythology relates owls to this wisdom and femininity. Next slide, please. The owl is a bird of magic, of prophecy, and once again, wisdom. It is said, owl people can see into the darkness of other people's souls. There are many different owls. In fact, there are at least 200 known species. And tonight we will meet just some of them and their magical associations. Next slide, please. So this is a snowy owl. Isn't it beautiful? The snowy owl's ability to navigate in darkness makes it not only a master spirit guide for the soul and retrieval and the reclaiming of lost parts of the soul, but it is also the guide that helps us to go into the void of the great mystery, to call forth ancient wisdom, knowledge, and secrets that have lain dormant for ages, to help us remember the fullness of our being and create a new earth. Next slide. You have to learn to see, it tells us. You have to learn to see. To see with owl eyes is to see differently and with a completely different aspect than what we see with our human eyes. Next slide, please. This is a barn owl. Barn owls represent loyalty, romance, relationships, and strength. They reflect the ability of the heart to the mind. It connects you to spirits and houses that they haunt. Mediums and ghost hunters often work with this owl as a totem. Working with the barn owl as a totem can give you a very strong clairvoyant ability. Next slide, please. This is the spotted owl with those big, huge eyes. People that work with this totem can sometimes appear threatening on the outside, but are actually all the opposite. And this owl can teach us how to use our voice to a great effect because they're screechy. Next slide. And believe it or not, this is the screech owl who really screeches. It's associated with protecting the home, the element of fire, transitioning, voice, and spiritual growth. It is very courageous and ferocious. This owl teaches us how to be a fierce individual while still having the ability to cooperate with others. Next slide, please. This is the elf owl. It is the smallest of all owls. It looks much bigger in that picture than what it actually is. They're probably about this big. It's so cute. They're very quick and can be worked with for motivation, intelligence, strategy, emotion, and resourcefulness. Next slide, please. This is the short-eared owl. Basically has almost no ears that you can see. They're really tiny. This owl gives you the ability to show up at the right place to take advantage of opportunities. It represents a blend of fire and air and can stir a passion for life and inspiration. They also can be worked with to awaken imagination. Next slide, please. These are burrowing owls. They can be worked with for protection, safety. They're associated with the element of earth, home, and your life path. Next slide, please. This is the great gray owl. Absolutely huge, beautiful. It is known for working with folks for intuition and power, balance and strength. It is associated with the moon and illusion. Next slide, please. The great horned owl is associated with adaptability, change, courage, energy, and equality. This owl is a fierce protector. It is the lunar opposite of the red-tailed hawk, who represents the sun. So she totally represents the moon. This owl can give us the ability to adapt to constant changing environments. Next slide. They're so cute. Owls have very large eyes in order to see in the dark. Some spiritualists believe this to mean that the owl can help people awaken to or clearly see the spiritual world. If you are working on clairvoyance, an owl might be able to help you. Female owls will only mate with males that they trust. For anyone doing love magic, keep this bird in mind. Owls are fantastic predators and strive for what they want. If you are in need of motivation, call upon the owl to help you. Next slide. Are you dreaming about owls? Owls are associated with wisdom and intuition. So if you have been seeing owls frequently in your dreams, it may mean that you have tapped into your inner wisdom and you should use it to make some important decisions in your life. It is said that seeing an owl helps us see through the illusion of the world. So if you see an owl in your dream, it may mean that you should be able to see the world clearly now. Owls are known to bring about change. So seeing an owl in your dream could also mean that something in your life needs urgent change. The owl also encourages us to look within our souls and break the shackles of the facade that you have gotten yourself into. It helps you go behind and beyond the usual mundane things of life. Seeing an owl in your dream could very well mean that you need to look beyond what is being shown to you and explore something that lies deep within the layers of truth. If you see owls in your dreams, it may be trying to tell you that you need to question someone you suspect of lying to you, and that you should be able to find out what the actual truth is. Sometimes when you are facing a huge dilemma in life, seeing an owl in your dream might help you face that dilemma and reach a reasonable solution. If an owl is staring at you with those big eyes in your dream, it could mean something about your inner wisdom or intuition. And if the owl is speaking to you in your dream, this could indicate some sort of truth will become known to you soon. An angry owl in your dream could mean that you might be having some sort of confrontation in the near future. No owls, Jen, for you. Dead owls in your dreams represent that something bad may be happening in your future. And a flying owl that is flying towards you means success may be coming your way. Being attacked by an owl in your dreams may be telling you that your rivals or competitors may cause you problems. And if two owls are fighting each other, this could symbolize that you are having trouble trying to decide on something. Owls prey on animals in a dream can mean that there is a weakness in your life that is causing an issue, and the owl is urging you to take back control. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about owls and mythology, and Alba is going to come up and talk to us about one of the goddesses associated with owls. So you have this when you get here going. Next slide, please.
Athena, the goddess Athena. Athena is the owl goddess of wisdom, war, and crafts. She is the protector of the city of Athens, her namesake, and was born in armor pulled from Zeus's head. Athena is often related to horses and snakes. However, one of Athena's most sacred animals is the owl. In the mythology of ancient Greece, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, was so impressed by the great eyes and solemn appearance of the owl that, having banished the mischievous crow, she honored the night bird by making him her favorite among feathered creatures. Athena's bird was a little owl, Athena noctura. This owl was protected and inhabited the Acropolis in great numbers. It was believed that a magical inner light gave owls night vision. As the symbol of Athena, the owl was a protector, accompanying Greek armies to war and providing ornamental inspiration for their daily lives. If an owl flew over Greek soldiers before a battle, they took it as a sign of victory. The little owl also kept a watchful eye on Athenian trade and commerce from the reverse side of their coins. Before Athena was depicted in human form, she was depicted in owl form. Next slide, please. An owl of Athena adorns the backside of an ancient Athenian silver dollar. In other ancient images, Athena is seen with an owl perched on her hand or flying over her shoulder. The owl's representation as a wise animal is attributed to Athena and wisdom in the ancient Greece. One source states owls were kept in Athena's sacred temple in Athens in honor of the goddess. Amanda?
Yes. Next slide, please.
Oh, Lakshmi. That's my cat's name.
Lakshmi
Lakshmi.
is a Hindu owl goddess. Lakshmi is a Hindu goddess of wealth and good fortune. This owl goddess is also recognized in Judaism and Buddhism. She is the wife of the higher god Vishnu and his incarnate consort when he came to earth as Krishna and Rama. Her symbol is the lotus flower. The Hindu goddess of 6 sacred abilities is also the inherently present in every living woman on earth. Lakshmi is the owl. Lakshmi is also described riding an elephant, but she's also sometimes seen riding an owl or having an owl guide. In Hinduism, The owl symbolizes the pursuit of knowledge in the darkness of wisdom. Insight. It's a reminder to remain humble and to seek wisdom, even after abundance has been granted by the universe. This fortuitous hour, guys, will bless you, but will also make sure you don't turn into greedy or immoral. Moss?
Next slide, please.
So Lilith is the dark owl goddess and perhaps one of the most ancient goddesses. A popular theory of her origins says she was Adam's first wife and was created in God's image, just like Adam. However, when she disobeyed Adam, God threw her out of the Garden of Eden. She then mated with the fallen angels and spawned a generation of demons, or so the story goes. Later legends claim that she is the mother of vampires. Neo-pagans dismiss these accounts of her wicked nature and acclaim her as a powerful owl goddess who was grossly demonized by the church. Next slide, please. Oh, the burning relief. So the owl goddess in the burning relief, Lilith is thought to be the goddess in the famous burning relief about 1800 BC, which shows a woman with an owl feet, wings, and flanked by owls. In many classic paintings and illustrations, Lilith is accompanied by owls. The theory is the association between Lilith being a demon or a hag of the night who flies around and causes nightmares to the unsuspecting. Perhaps when the owl was regarded as sacred and Lilith was still a goddess, there was the owl-Lilith connection began.
Next slide. So Hecate is also associated with owls. On a starry night, Hecate's owls fly over the earth on huge wings that can cover the moon itself. Her golden eyes are wise, dangerous are her mighty claws, and you will never hear your approaching fate. According to the beliefs of the ancient Greeks, this beautiful bird was the embodiment of the will of her mistress, the great Hecate. Goddesses, priests predicted the future depending on what was in the paws of her magnificent owl. The owl holds in its mighty paws a lantern with a brightly burning candle inside. The lantern is said to belong to the crone, the third face of Hecate, and it serves as a guide in the dark forest of life's roads and paths. The owl of the three-faced goddess is always a good sign, regardless of whether she is holding a key, a lantern, or a scroll in her paws. She is often invoked as the mercy of Hecate. Kimmy?
Right. So just looking at- Okay,
Next slide.
right. Regana, the Baltic owl goddess. Regana was once a widely venerated Baltic goddess until the people were converted to Christianity. And she will spend. Oh, that's good. Okay. Repeat that. Regana was once a widely venerated Baltic goddess until the people were converted to Christianity, and she became an evil witch. The name Regana became synonymous with the words witch and hag. Sources say worship of Regana dates to the Neolithic times. She was a pre-Indo-European goddess who foretold the future. Regana was the owl goddess of women, childbirth, menstruation, menopause, and fertility. Regana was a guide to the other worlds and a powerful healer. When demonized, she became merely a witch who flew with owls in the dead of night. Regana shifts into the form of a bird, namely the owl, and flies around at night in Lithuania and Latvia. The last goddess we will talk about is a lesser known Welsh Celtic goddess. We will spend more time with her so we can learn her story and the importance behind it.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so. Bloodowith, the flower owl goddess. She is a lesser known owl goddess of Welsh Celtic mythology. Bloodowith, also known as the ninefold goddess of the Western Isles of Paradise, was a goddess like no other in the manner of her birth. She is one of the main figures in the Mabinogion, the Welsh cycle of stories of the early Celtic goddesses and gods. But to understand Bloodowith, her short life, her actions, and her death, we must look back to the story of Arianrhod, the Celtic sky goddess. Both Arianrhod and Bloodowith, viewed through patriarchal lenses, get bad raps for their actions. Arianrhod, the most powerful child of the great mother goddess Dawn, was a virgin goddess in the ancient meaning of the word virgin, a woman who is complete unto herself, a woman who needs no protection from a man, a woman who bestowed her sexual favors where and when she chose. But Arianrhod was deceived by her brother, Gwydion, a powerful magician and heir to the kingship as the eldest son of Dawn. In those days, the kingship was passed on through the mother line, through the children of the king's sister. Children were seen as gifts from the goddess, given to humanity through the bodies of women. Yet times changed. People began to talk of a new concept, fatherhood. With that concept came the masculine need for feminine chastity before marriage. Arianrhod became enamored by the glamour of this fashion, yet with no intention or desire of practicing chastity. Arianrhod, Arianrhod's uncle, the magician King Math, was under a strange taboo that required him to keep his feet in the lap of a virgin whenever he was not actively engaged in battle. Gwydion suggested Arianrhod for this role, yet during the time he had to tell her of that role, he hoped to convince her to marry him instead, thus ensuring his own sons would be in line for the kingship. Arianrhod enjoyed Gwydion's company, but she had no desire to marry. She longed for the excitement of the court. She decided to accept King Math's offer. Gwydion, using magic and trickery, forced Arianrhod to conceive his child. To prove her virginity, she had to step across a magical rod. While doing that, she fell victim of Gwydion's magic and immediately gave birth to two twin boys. The first, whom Math named Dylan, fled to the sea and swam away. The second boy, named Lou, unnoticed by all present, was scooped up by Gwydion and raised in a magic forest. And this is where the need for Bloodowith enters the tale. When Arianrhod learned of Gwydion's betrayal, she laid 3 curses on the boy. She denied the child a name or the right to bear arms, the right of Welsh mothers, which gives a clear indication of the ancient power of women. But Gwydion tricked Arianrhod into granting them. The third curse, that the boy shall have no wife of the race that is now on the earth, was more difficult to break. Marriage was essential because to become king, Lugh had to marry a woman, a goddess, a representative of the land. Finally, Gwydion, with Math's help, created a woman out of flowers to be Lugh's wife. What better representation of the land then a woman made of flowers and primrose, bean, broom, and meadowsweet, burdock, nettle, oak, hawthorn, and chestnut. She was named Ludowick, meaning flower face. She was the earth in full bloom, making Lu's sovereignty legitimate. So Ludowick was born a full-grown woman, beautiful and passive. She was made to be Lu's wife. It was expected that she would accept this role without question, and so she did, at first. Until the day when she was alone with her ladies, and first laid eyes on Gronug, a handsome huntsman. Her heart quickened, and the first desire of her own awakened. Gron's heart quickened as well, and their fate was sealed. Now she could no longer accept the destiny that others had laid on her. Now she had a mind and a heart of her own. But she was trapped in a marriage to a man she did not love. What was she to do? Out of desperation, she and Gronug plotted Lu's death. For what other way could she ever be free of him? Yet even this was a difficult task to accomplish, as Lu, like many Celtic heroes, had magic surrounding how he could be killed. Lu could not be killed indoors or out, on horse or on foot, and the spearhead used to kill him had to be made during the sacred time. But these conditions were secret. Gronug urged Ludowick to discover Lu's secret so that he could kill him, thus freeing them to follow their love. Ludowick, pretending to be worried about Lu's possible death, persuaded him to show her under what circumstances it could be accomplished. To put her fears to rest, he showed her the strange and improbable conditions. They prepared a bath by the side of a river, which was covered with a thatched roof, thus being neither indoors nor out. Then Lu put one foot on the edge of the bath and the other on the back of the goat, thus being neither on horse nor on foot. Gronug was hiding, ready to act. He threw the sacred spear, hitting Lu in the side, who immediately turned into an eagle and flew away. Ludowick and Gronug ran off together. Soon Gwydion found Lu and nursed him back to health. When he found the lovers, he killed Gronug. But Gwydion couldn't bring himself to kill Ludowick, his own creation. He cursed her to never see the light of day and turned her into an owl instead. Ludowick, while portrayed as a traitor and adulterer in modern times, represents feminine strength and liberation. Ludowick, in her short life, went from an innocent, meek wife to a woman of passion and action, and finally into a solitary night predator. She became a goddess of life and death. Though Ludowick was created by men to fulfill their own needs, to assure Lu's right to rule the land, she ultimately awakened to herself, to her own desire, to her own fate. Storytellers have judged her harshly, calling her the epitome of feminine passivity, the ultimate betrayer, the fickle and faithless wife. Let her actions and her story be a lesson to all who seek to manipulate women, control their fate, to limit their choices. Her story is one of reclaiming her own power, of determining her own fate. Ludowick helps us leave behind the innocence and passivity of our youth. She blazes the path through pain and suffering to connect with the powerful divine feminine, which holds life in one hand and death in the other. Next slide. Now that we know her story, we will end the evening with a ritual to help us create a more unified, humanitarian approach to the way we are and what we do daily in our lives. Does anyone need a 5-minute break before we start? Okay, let's do a 5-minute break and then we will gather. And we gotta bring the camera outside and we will gather out by the fire.
Can I ask, why you focus so much on the negative things? Well, since you're not trying to do negative magic.
Well-
Witches, seems like most of the witches these last owls are kind of bad witches.
No, they're not bad.
Lilith?
Not at all. She wasn't. That's what we're talking about here, what they really were and what they were made to
I see.
appear to be.
Yeah, and it's also probably not so much good witch, bad witch, it's more like they're bewitched, but what they practice and if they want to do dark stuff, quote unquote, dark stuff. So yeah, I just find it very interesting, there's a lot of that background that they're obsessed with female virginity. It's like,
Well,
yeah.
because men want to know that the sun is there, you know, it gets back to very patriarchal.
It does, it like at a certain point, but at the same time, I was very, the owls. Okay, that's usually something that goes the owls, and it's like, okay, well. Maybe God was telling you that was messing up for him, but I suppose the owls right, so. This, I didn't know it had that much intricacies than just that. Interesting.
Now, you going out for the owl?
Very interesting. Thanks.
Uh,
Logan has already joined us out here.
It's like your name.
Well,
have you been-
sitting there like, what took you so long? I don't understand.
Oh, he knows we're about to do the ritual.
Yeah, he's a smarty pants.
My mom says it's next.
They are.
Great.
Man, I like good teacher.
Very stable.
Oh, yeah, in the red cloth.
I think so, yes.
Oh, we need to put this on the belt.
No,
No. Balls out there. Mhm.
I've got the here.
yes, what was out there?
You all right?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta use Bluetooth.
Oh, no, it's so little.
What you doing, bud?
I have the shirt, that means I have the power. I go. He just walks right by.
He's like, no, no.
No kitty love today for Logan. Well, I might have this one.
So we're not using a microphone tonight, so just make sure when you have your speaking parts that you speak loud enough so that they can hear us online and it'll be good in the video. Matt, do you want, Jonathan, do you want a chair? Because or maybe one for Kimmy when she comes. So
Right.
all the way back. Careful with everything behind you, Matt.
Or that in marshmallow or.
Do I have to speak in French?
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't want to.
Yes. Got it.
Does look what. So tonight we're gonna cast our circle hand to hand. So just until we cast the circle, if everybody can stand up so they can reach each other and come in closer and in the circle, that'll be great. Then you can get back in. So much of humanity as we know today is asleep. We live in a false culture, one that is out of balance with life and its elemental powers. Many of us know what the price will be, more or less, for the excesses of humanity's current lifestyles. On this night, we will journey back to Avalon and connect with Vivian and Merlin in order that we may relearn the ancient spiritual concepts to live in balance with life once again, accepting and enjoying it for what it is and being a part of its revelation. We will begin by casting a circle of protection hand to hand. Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast this circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I guess the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast this circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, we cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, we cast the circle of protection.
Hand to hand, I cast the circle of protection.
So Lord, we
So Lord,
Everyone can sit and be comfortable now. We will now begin to call in our goddesses. Tonight we are calling you goddesses instead of quarters, starting in the east. Kimmy? Walk clockwise.
Sorry. In the east, Bullwood, Lady of Initiation, help us cast off the garments of expectation and to peer into the darkness of the self to find, and ultimately live our inner truth. With the power of the winds, come forth and join our circle. So mote it be.
So mote it be. In south, Hecate, Lady of Transformation, allow us to enter into our darkness, to see out the seeds of our wholeness. Help us to understand that the path to wisdom is through trial and experience. With the power of the ancestors, come forth and join our circle. So mote it be.
So Lord, it be.
To the west. In the west, Arianrod, the great teacher, allow us to move within the wheel as destiny dictates. mindful of the force of bound and rebound, the karmic lesson, bringer that brings the universe into balance with the power of the tides. Come forth and join our circle. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
And in the north, moon.
In the north, Rhiannon, the Lady of Manifestation, we call to stand strong regardless of the challenge to our truth. Teach us to ask for what we need and grant us abundance and love and support and carry us through our dark times with the power of the flame. Come forth and join our circle, so mote it be.
So mote it be.
In the center, we call upon the guardian of Avalon, Bronwyn, goddess of the land. Guardian of Avalon, you are the whole, the center, the axis mundi of this mystical realm. Guide us safely through Avalon and allow the greater patterns of our journey to be revealed. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
We will now invite Vivian and Merle, Merlin, not wrong.
High Priestess of Avalon, guardian of the sacred well, speaker of the healing spell, lady of the sacred lake, where Excalibur you did make. Vivian, we invite you to come to us now. So mote it be.
So
mote it be.
Merlin, you're the wind that gives voice to the trees, the lord of the earth, the sentinel of eternity. You're the circle of standing stones, the fire along the blade of a sword. Mighty Merlin, come to us now. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Let us turn to the east. We turn to the east and open the gate and ask Bloodwith to tell us our fate. Let us turn to the south. We turn to the south and open the way and ask Hecate and the old ones to join us this day. Let us turn to the west. We turn to the west and open the portal and ask Arianrhod our future to foretell. Let us turn to the north. We turn to the north and open the door and ask Rhiannon to tell us her lore.
We will now take a trip to Avalon through meditation, followed by a slow 3-time around meditative spiral walk around the fire, giving us a bit of time to process what we may have experienced during the meditation. I will lead the walk, and when you see me return to the altar, it will be your cue to return to your spot. Everyone relax. Take a deep breath. Begin by relaxing your body. Make sure that your weight is evenly distributed. Now focus on the top of your head and send a ripple of relaxation
down the back of your skull, into the nape of your neck. Physically release your shoulders. Relax the ribs. Release any tension, your hips and your thighs. Allow your knees to relax. And feel relaxation flowing into your take a deep breath in. Hold it for a second. And on the exhalation, just let everything go. Allowing your physical body to physically complete. Mentally, give yourself permission to make this spiritual journey, knowing that your physical body is completely safe and complete. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Ahead now, a subtle mist begins to form. Swirling, slowly at first, but gaining density and form. Sense its energy pulling you towards it. And as if gently pulsing, drawing you closer and closer. You can just about touch the mist with your outstretched fingers. Reach out, and as you connect to it, it opens before you like a funnel, and you step into it. As you do, it surrounds you on all sides, above and below. And as you walk forwards towards it, it separates and lays itself down as a path ahead of you. You follow the path and pass a small woodland to your left. The shadows formed by trees linger over the grass, and you reflect on the denseness of this space. A slight chill fills the air while you walk through the shadows before stepping into the sunlight once again. To your right now is a hawthorn hedge, and behind and beyond the hedge, further out to your right, is an open meadow. There is an opening in the hedge, as if the opening was made just for you. And you walk through to the meadow beyond. But your eyes are drawn back to the opening in the hedge itself in front of you, and to a small pond formed by a tiny dip in the land at this point. You sense there is something very special about this pond. And as you bend to touch the surface of the water with your fingers, you discover that even though you are touching the water, your fingers remain dry. Movement can clearly be seen within the pond itself, and you observe tiny fish darting here and there. Yet the surface of the water is perfectly still. A mist begins to form and settles above the surface of the pond, and its energy pulls you forward as if magnetically. For a moment, you almost lose your balance, but quickly regain your equilibrium as a voice speaks, coming from the mist itself. Look for the three flowers, the thistle, the rose, and the lily, for they will show you the way. As the voice stills, you immediately notice the thistle by your right foot. As you glance around, you are amazed to see, to your right, a rose, For a few moments, you stand perfectly still. What is this place? Say, and where is the lily? The voice speaks to you once again. These are the mists of Babylon, and you have transported through the portal of time to medieval England and the court of King Arthur. Do not look at the lily with your eyes, for its essence lies deep within your heart. It is the flame of the divine feminine. Your path is formed of the masculine energies, and you now have journeyed to this point today to merge them within. The voice fades, and you continue your journey. The path winds you gently uphill, over smooth ground. But as the hill steepens, it takes on the form of steps. At the top of these steps, a tower comes into sight. Imposing, solid, dark in color. Its square shape elevates and reaches up to the sky. Take a moment and absorb the full impact of its presence, taking in its form. You walk up to the entrance of the tower, and as you step forward and through its arched entrance, a white dove flies past your right ear from behind and up inside the tower itself. The speed of the dove's movement takes your breath away. You watch it as it comes to rest on a ledge. And as your line of vision falls naturally once again to the ground level, directly ahead of you now, you see a banquet room. Lords and ladies mingling with one another. Soft music playing in the background, and an air of expectancy at the imminent arrival of the king. A large wooden door opens. King Arthur enters carrying a golden key, and Guinevere follows, carrying a silver candlestick. They walk graciously side by side. And as they reach the far side of the banqueting hall, the king and queen position themselves on courtly decorated terms. They beckon you forward, and you too walk through the line of ladies and lords. As you stand before them, the king hands you the golden key, placing it in your right hand. He tells you, this is the key to the kingdom. The queen then lights her candle and passes it to you in your left hand. She tells you it is symbolic of you being a light bearer. You bow down before them, and as you raise your head, feel the weight of a crown upon it. Take a number of steps back, holding the key and the candle, through the line of lords and ladies who are also now wearing crowns. All is in divine order. The masculine and feminine energies have been perfectly balanced and aligned within. Absorb this mood before withdrawing to the entrance of the banquet room. As you pass through the arch once again and are outside the tower, a white horse awaits. And as you mount it, you are transported down the hill, along your path, and down to its lower levels, where you enter the pond and the opening in the hedge. Dismount the horse now. And as you do, it disappears into the mist once again. You find yourself walking back down the path, seeing the rose and the thistle and a small piece of woodland on your right. Within this woodland lies the tree of life, whose roots reach the center of Mother Earth. It holds within it an anchoring of deep ancient knowledge for the benefit of all mankind. Pause in front of the tree and open fully to the wisdom within. Mists swirl all around your feet once again and enfold you completely. You step through its spiraling form and beyond into the here and now. You have been transported safely back into your current lifetime and find yourself surrounded by the room or outdoor area in which you began this journey. As you familiarize yourself with its shape, form, and contents one more, know and accept that you have experienced the sacred journey to the time of King Arthur and to the mists of Avalon. You have witnessed Guinevere, his queen, and the lords and ladies in waiting. You have entered his castle and have been accepted as a member of his court. You hold this energy through all your lifetimes. Take a few deep breaths in. Feel the seat or the ground beneath you, supporting the weight of your physical body. Put some gentle movement into your fingers and toes. Take some deep breaths in, feeling the rise and fall of your chest. You are safe. You are protected. All is well. Hear my voice calling you back. The music playing in the background. And in your own time, come back. Please slowly open your eyes.
reason we did the spiral walk was to help us fully come back from the meditation and also to give us each an opportunity to process and think about what we may have experienced during the meditation. So would anybody like to share what they might have seen, experienced, felt, heard?
Felt very calm. Actually felt like a little bit,
That's really good. Anyone else?
I really felt the mist, I felt the coolness. And I felt like I was right there. It's beautiful.
Anyone else? We'll continue. So we will next prepare for cake and ale. Please remember that when you get your cake and your ale, wait for everyone to be served before we partake. Jen is going to be making a offering to the gods and goddesses before we start getting any actual food. Gratitude and peace in the hearts. For those of you before, for those of you that's now. For the gifts that we receive every day. So motivate. To the gods. To the gods. Right. You could throw your cup in the fire. Good. All right. Anybody else? We're good.
That's for life is supposed to be.
Or not. We will now begin to close our circle. However, our connection with all who have joined us tonight will remain with us going forward. So let us begin in the center.
guardian of Avalon, Ranley, guardian of these halls. Thank you for guiding us safely through Avalon. Hail and farewell.
All honor and love to Vivian, High Priestess of Avalon. She is the power behind all powers. Hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell.
All honor and love to Merlin, master of all, for he is the power behind all powers. Hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell.
And in the north.
Brandon, the Lady of Manifestation, by the power of the flame, we thank you for your participation in charge of this circle. Hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell. And in the west. Arianrod, great teacher, by the power of the tide, we thank you for your protection. In charge of this circle. Hail and farewell.
South. Hecate, Lady of Transformation, by the power of the ancestors, we thank you for your protection in charge of this circle. Hail and farewell.
Farewell.
Timmy. And in the east.
Fluid, Lady of Initiation, by the power of the winds, we thank you for your protection and charge of this circle. Hail and farewell.
May this circle be open but always unbroken. May humanity learn to become more humane. May the peace of the goddess be ever in our hearts. Marry me, marry heart, and marry me again.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.